Hello guys. So today I will not actually be doing like mm, any how to do SCD series, and to be quite frank, I don't know where will I continue with the series because I'm quite washed right now. I have a university semester like as I'm speaking right now, but I have recently just learned about this guy. Okay, this guy right here on this video. Okay, this guy is called Lila, right? And I interact with him like quite a bit on Discord. And let me tell you something, he is completely lost. Okay, he's completely lost. And I wouldn't be making this video if he was just lost, but he was willing to learn. Okay, but every time he says something and somebody tries to correct him, he keeps saying the same stuff over and over again. He's not willing to recognize people's people's points, the facts that they are presenting to him. He just ignores them all. And because this guy is getting quite traction in SAD, actually, I decided to make series out of this. Basically just clear up any misconceptions that this guy will definitely say in this video. Okay, the title of the video is "If Illogical Fallacies Exist," and I know he will also go over like illogical logic here. And let me tell you, just straight off the bat, it doesn't exist. Illogical fallacies don't exist. Illogical logic does not exist. It literally violates law of non-contradiction. It goes against the principles of the laws of logic, right? And any proposition is inherently logical because we have something like propositional logic, right? But let me not get ahead of myself, okay? Let's first just watch this guy speak. Okay.
Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. So today I'd like to kind of go over the definition of illogical fallacy as well as the definitions of illogical logic, and I'd like to kind of do this to help people.
Okay, I don't care. Let me go. Okay.
Use what they are, how they can be used, etc. Let's kind of start off with the definition of illogical fallacy.
Okay, fine.
So it's very simple. It's a fallacy that's so far off it cannot even be considered logical. Like you're not looking in the realm of logicality right now.
Okay. First relevant sentence of this video already wrong. Okay. Let's look at a word, or the etymology, let me say, of what even fallacy actually even means. It comes from Latin. I think it means something like fallere or phallax. I'm not too sure right now. It basically means deceit. That's what I know. It means deceit. So logical fallacies are used to deceive your interlocutor into thinking that what you are positing argumentatively is logically coherent, right? Which it is obviously not, because that's why it's called illogical. That's why it's called a logical fallacy. It's something that doesn't abide by logic, right? It's not logical. So basically, the argument itself is not logical, therefore illogical, right? The prefix ill means not, a negation in starter like propositional terms. So it negates the logic within the proposition, right? So what he's describing is something that is not logical. If it is not logical, it is illogical. And so logical fallacy would be an error in reasoning logic that would make your argument illogical. He's right. When you commit, he's not right, but he's like so wrong at the same time. So when something contains a logical fallacy, it is an illogical argument, but it must be labeled as logical fallacy. You get what I mean? If illogical fallacies existed, then you would be committed to an error in reasoning that is already illogical, right? Which first of all does not even make sense, because if there is a logical error in something that is not even supposed to be logical, it cannot be a fallacy because it is not misapplied in any way. It doesn't like go over or misinterpret the principle, right? And even granting that it would yield a conclusion, it would just turn the conclusion into something logical, as a flaw in something that is illogical would make it seemingly logical through like principles of bivalence or law of excluded middle, stuff like that, right? So he's so lost, bro. Okay, let me continue though.
Hello friends, and welcome back to another logical fallacy, shall we? So logical fallacies rely on errors in reasoning and flawed logic, but looking in the realm of logicality
okay,
right now.
here,
It's
here.
not. It's non-existent in that realm because it does not exist. So let's distinguish the difference between logical fallacies and illogical fallacies, shall we? So logical fallacies rely on errors in
Wait. Okay.
reasoning and flawed logic, but illogical fallacies are completely outlandish and require the fabrication of things that are non-existent.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. What is non-existent? What exactly doesn't have existence? The logic behind it. I mean, whenever you make a proposition, you are already subscribing to propositional logic. So you are using logic to make any argument whatsoever. Right? So the fact that it does not exist is simply wrong, which is also why it cannot be classified as such. Like, if it doesn't exist, you would be denying propositional logic and the existence of propositional logic. Uh, if you have, like, any arguments to deny propositional logic, then go on. But you can't even do that because then your propositions would be denied as well, right? Because you cannot make any propositions to deny propositional logic, obviously, because then the propositions would fail. It is paradoxical. So yours is wrong again. Okay.
These things that are fabricated, they don't exist. So you would easily be able to tell the difference as long as you follow the simple formula that logical fallacies contain flawed logic, while logical fallacies just absolutely disregard logic. So the real question
Okay, we've been over this already. I don't need to mention that, right? I think
is, why even have illogical fallacies? Why is that even a term? Well, it
it is not a term.
distinguishes between flawed logic and complete nonsensical assertions.
Complete nonsensical assertions. Complete nonsensical assertions will be propositions as well. Please learn, for the love of God, what proposition logic actually is. And while you are at it, please learn what are the three laws of logic, okay? Because seemingly you denied, like, one of them already. And I think you will deny, like, at least, you will definitely at least deny law of contradiction in this video as well, from what I've seen you type on Discord. So, let's move on.
Because logical fallacies stem from errors within reasoning, but illogical fallacies represent ideas that lack any foundation of logic.
Then they are not propositions, so they cannot be classified as such. And then they are not arguments. Thank you.
Inside of reality and all concepts of existence, I would say, because the term illogical fallacy itself is linguistically coherent, as it emphasizes
What does it even mean, linguistically coherent? And anyway, the reasons I've already provided above, so.
is the extreme departure from logic, the fact that there is absolutely no logic being used, unlike the regular logical fallacies that we're going to be discussing. But claiming that all fallacies, and I've seen this happen, all fallacies must involve logical reasoning, this
Oh god. Yes, all fallacies must involve logical reasoning, because if they didn't involve logical reasoning, they wouldn't be called propositions. Yeah, get it. Also, this guy is being like, we are 2.5 minutes in. This guy is being so redundant. Please move on to the point. Make your video more coherent. Save us some time. Thank you.
completely ignores the possibility, it completely ignores it, that arguments are so absurd they don't even qualify as flawed reasoning.
There is no possibility. It is a logical impossibility according to model logic, so.
You have these arguments that say, like, the earth is red, and then you're like, oh, but that's a logical fallacy, as if thinking, like,
The earth is red is a logical fallacy? No, that's not an error in logic. That's an error in facts. Wait, what?
you're like, oh, but that say, like, the earth is red, and then you're like, oh, but that's a logical fallacy.
What? That's not a logical fallacy even. That's literally a factual error that the earth is flat. He didn't use any flawed logic to prove that the earth is red. You need to use some form of logic to validate your proposition in order for something to be called logically fallacious, right? You need to make some kind of argument. You need to make a syllogism. Well, you don't need to make a syllogism. It can be also like deductive arguments, and I mean inductive arguments. But you get my point. like deductive, inductive, abductive arguments, you need to use one of these three forms of argumentation to derive a conclusion, right? And in these three types of reasoning, there could be contained a logical fallacy, but a logical fallacy cannot be contained in other forms of thinking, right? Because then these are like the only three forms of reasoning, right? You can make something like analogical reasoning, you can make something like probabilistic reasoning, but in the end, they all subscribe to induction, deduction, or abduction, one of these three basic forms of reasoning, right? And so if you reason, the logical fallacy must be contained in one of these three kinds of reasoning by necessity, right? And since the fact that he is not making any argument for the fact that the Earth or whatever he said is red, then he is not committing a logical fallacy. He's just making an error in facts, right? He has it wrong, but that doesn't mean he's committing a logical fallacy. I think that's like I explained that pretty good, right? Because this guy is like really lost. You can see it. Like I'm not even 3 minutes in. Oh god.
As if thinking like so small inside of a sphere of a box, you're thinking like this contains a logical fallacy, this is still a logical fallacy, although it contains no logic. It's in the exact definition of the term, and that's what you should be looking for. So yeah,
Wait, what?
illogical fallacies, they exist as a useful term to describe fabricated, baseless concepts, baseless claims that many small debaters will make as they climb up the scales of
That's not really true because a baseless claim can be just a claim with no reasoning behind it as well, right? That's baseless. It's like the example you posited that the Earth is red or the moon is red or whatever you said. That's a baseless claim, but it's not logically fallacious. Please get your terms right, dude.
debating, and these claims would go beyond conventional logical errors. It would not follow any kind of specific format. And the difference between illogical and logical fallacies, again, is that a logical fallacy disrupts logical flow by flawed reasoning, while an illogical fallacy extends this problem by presenting an error in logic and this is important, and a fundamental gain in illogical logic in this argument. Now you might be wondering what illogical logic is, and I'll get to that, but what's important to understand here is with the scenario I've just listed, it becomes a paradox where logic is both absent and misapplied, objectively and subjectively.
Objectively and subjectively. Wait, let me just. I will see him finish his sentence.
And that the presence of illogical fallacies is due to the fact that the arguments are flawed and do not follow any coherent logical structure.
What in the hell do you mean both subjective and objective, my guy? A thing can only. Okay, he just denied. Oh god. A thing can only be subjective or objective. Your raw stuff you are trying to present here violates some kind of law of logic. And now you are trying to also violate the law of non-contradiction after trying to violate like principle of bivalence or law of excluded middle. Okay, I know that principle of bivalence is sometimes not accepted. Because that's why it's not a law of logic, right? But it's very similar to law of excluded middle, and it's generally just reliable in most cases, I would say. And you are just denying like everything. You didn't deny law of identity yet, which is pretty surprising. Maybe you will, to be honest. But you just denied 2 out of 3 laws of logic in 4 minutes. Good job, Lila. Good job. Good job. Good boy. Okay. Oh god. Please educate yourself, please, for the love of God.
And sadly, there have been attempts to debunk this concept of illogical.
Wait, what?
Sadly, there have been attempts to debunk.
There have been attempts.
Coherent logical structure. And sadly, there have been attempts to.
Yeah, there have been attempts. Yeah. Oh, okay.
debunk this concept of illogical fallacies, and for any potential debunks or arguments to this term, it's necessary to define what even your definition and my definition of the word argument is
Okay, good.
to begin with. So my definition of the word argument would be an attempt to establish a point of view through reasoning. And even if that reasoning is incoherent or flawed, it would still qualify as an argument because you attempted to establish a point. Although you didn't exactly get there, you attempted it. In
First, that definition is really stupid. As first, making an argument is obviously like much more than just trying to establish a point of view. It is a reason for forming like justified true beliefs, right? It is kind of a doxastic form of inquiry which leads your interlocutor to either deny or accept the conclusion. So casting any biases aside here, that's of course something we have to grant in order for the definition. But then, what I want to address foremost, how about just a better definition for argument, right? How about a set of propositions? Okay, a set of propositions. That's like a definition of an argument. Right, because an argument is something that is supposed to convince you, and saying, okay, the Earth is red. That's not a convincing proposition, right? Even if it's trying to like say something about your point of view, right? So your definition already fails, and the fact that it cannot be a single proposition is because of the reason I just mentioned, that the Earth is flat or the Earth is red. That's not an argument, right? It's just an assertion. It's a baseless claim. So that's why it has to be a set of propositions, and this is like perfectly suitable for any definition of an argument. It is a set of reasons given to support a conclusion, which is basically a set of propositions which yield a conclusion. So it's basically like any kind of syllogism, any kind of inductive, abductive reasoning, correct? That's basically that's basically how an argument should be defined as.
In other words, when someone presents an argument, they are offering reasons, even if these reasons are irrational, to support.
What? Wait, what? Let me reply.
An argument, they are offering reasons, even if these reasons are irrational, to support some kind of a conclusion. So an argument that lacks coherence may be invalid or sound, but it's still an argument, and some people don't understand that.
If it is irrational, it is illogical. No, are you literally contradicting your entire video just now? This is much worse than I expected. Oh god. This would mean that logical fallacy would be the same as illogical fallacy for you, so you would be conceding to an actual fact instead of like making your own definitions. You're contradicting your entire video right now, because irrational is basically synonymous to illogical, by the way. Because it is not rational. What is not rational is irrational. What is irrational is illogical. Oh god. By the way, funny that you mentioned like wait.
It's just a failed argument, but it can still be classified as an argument nonetheless. So, like, in the same breath, to say like
it's funny that you also mentioned like validity and soundness. I just wanted to finish a sentence to see if he has something more to say. But it's funny that you mentioned validity and soundness, considering you do not even know what validity and soundness even is from my interactions with you on Discord. Like, please be better. Please learn. Please listen to more people that are better than you. Please stop annoying Sajay for debates. He will not accept. He will not. This guy is getting on my nerves. Like, honestly, I'm 5 minutes in and I want to punch a wall. Okay, let me just continue.
Like an illogical fallacy is not an argument because it lacks coherence. It would be like saying a broken clock isn't a clock because it's trying to function as one even though it's not working properly.
That's so dumb. I will not even mention it.
Makes absolutely no sense at all. So yeah.
Exactly. You don't even make any sense at all. Exactly. Oh, I agree with him. Oh god, I'm cooked, Chad.
Yeah, an illogical fallacy is still an attempt at reason, and that's what makes it an argument, even if it's not logical. Illogical fallacies are still arguments in the sense that they try to establish a claim through reasoning, and that's important. Even if the reasoning
Stop being redundant again. You seem like somebody who would shotgun in a debate.
Doesn't hold up, it was still tried to be established. And if you don't acknowledge what I've just said, you would have to dismiss that all flawed reasoning is something completely separate from argumentation.
Yeah, Bertrand.
Which just simply is not accurate. Because it's a part of reasoning, it's just flawed reasoning. So, not to get into more of the angst here,
Thanks God.
illogical logic, which is
Oh God.
kind of an oxymoron. Let me define it for you real quick. So, illogical logic is reasoning that may seem persuasive, but it does not observe the regular principles of logic. So, an example of this: if I
Oh, an example. Let me see.
wear socks on my hands, the moon will turn green because socks are for feet and feet have toes, and toes are close to the earth, so wearing socks on my hands will somehow affect the moon's color. So, if you didn't understand what I said,
Okay, I did understand what you say. So, no, it's not just an oxymoron. Not just an oxymoron. It literally denies the law of contradiction again. Once again, another denial of the law of contradiction, non-contradiction. You are literally walking denial of the law of non-contradiction at this point. For example, all right. I mean, let's just break down your assertion or your argument in propositional form, right? Premise one: if I wear socks on my hands, then the moon will turn green. Premise two: I wear socks on my hands. Conclusion: the moon will turn green. Did you know? Did you know that this is actually a very deductive argument, by the way? I don't think you did, because you do not know what soundness and validity actually is, even. So that's why you go on YouTube and say that illogical logic exists, because you don't even know what the fuck is validity and soundness. My guy, please.
and I'm glad you're hearing properly because this example would be
I'm so not glad that I'm hearing properly.
illogical logic. So this would seem persuasive, granted, I guess depending on who said it.
No, this is not. This.
But
No,
there's
this is not persuasive, no matter who said it. Who says it, okay? But it's still a valid deductive argument because it subscribes to the general deductive form of an argument, right? It, deductive validity. Deductive validity. It means that if the propositions are true, then the conclusion must necessarily follow, right? So we don't look at it if the propositions are true. We are looking at the form of the argument, and we are granting that the propositions are true. And if the propositions are true, the conclusion is necessary, right? It necessarily follows. So there is no margin for error of the conclusion inherently, right? And that's what validity in logic actually is. And you just don't know what the fuck is up, my guy.
there's no principle logic to use here in debates. If you said this in debate, you would get laughed out of the debate, and they would never want you to come back. So this
That is true.
is often seen when people use illogical fallacies or even illogical reasoning to justify their claim. This is where the
Illogical reasoning. Oh.
illogical logic can be pointed out. And yeah, in conclusion, the understanding of illogical fallacies is important in SED debates. If you want to point out a
No.
complete disregard for the rules of logic within SED debates, or even point out illogical logic that your opponent has been using,
Please don't point it out.
and you need to realize that when it happens. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. My next video will
No problem, my guy.
explain
Anytime. You seem like a infinite content glitch on YouTube, right? So no problem. I will always watch your videos, my G. I got you. I got you.
the difference between illogical reasoning and manipulative reasoning.
Seems like we got some work on our hands, boys. Manipulative reasoning. Let me repeat if you didn't hear correctly. Manipulative reasoning. My guy.
And how it's important to discern the relationship, because I did recently see a couple of new definitions and examples of illogical reasoning that I have not seen before, and how it can be
Doesn't exist.
actually compared
Whatever.
very similarly to manipulative reasoning. So we're going to be delving into that
No, manipulative reasoning. Please stop cooking, my guy. Stop cooking.
in my next video. And thank you guys so much for the recent support, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. I just lost like 10 brain cells watching this video. Please. Please. Oh god. Oh god. That's why maybe I should really start posting the SED guides again. Looking at this guy, I think I should really start posting them again. Just for the sake of this community. Oh god. Well, also, just a side note, uh, I think the next Saturday I will also be appearing on a podcast that Rus is hosting. He will be posting his own channel, but I think I will just get it and post it on my channel as well if I have his permission, which I probably will, considering it's a podcast. And I will be posting the podcast on my YouTube as well. It will be pretty long, I think, so I don't expect many of you to watch it. But if some of you are interested in me, who I am as a person, how did I get into SE and stuff like that, then make sure to check it out at least. At least like the beginning. Maybe it will be actually interesting for you to watch it, alright? Okay, so that will be it for today's video. I lost 8 brain cells, so I hope I get better soon. I think I'm sick from this guy, and I will see you once again when this dude posts another video, because I will definitely milk him for views, okay? See ya later.